Calaroga Shark Media.
Friends, this show will not be stopped. Every landscaper in the tri-state area is in my neighborhood right now. There's a guy blowing leaves behind me. There's a guy mowing the lawn to the left of me. But it is 79 degrees, sunny, and dry out. So we are doing a poolside edition come hell or high water. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. We will test out my noise reduction capabilities on the MacBook. Shane Gillis, a little kerfuffle. I've been talking about this on the quick afternoon episode. So just real quick, if you're catching the 3-minute things I've been posting in the afternoon, I'm doing those for YouTube. So if you're finding the show on YouTube, those are the videos. And if you're a regular audio listener that we've been doing this for 8 years, nothing changes here. But that's what's going on with the afternoon episodes. I talked about this lightly, but there's a Shane Gillis kerfuffle. Shane was at the Austin FC soccer game against Dallas on Sunday. Interesting choice. He was there with Matthew McConaughey, and on screen you saw McConaughey and you saw Shane, and on Shane's right hand in the cup holder was a Dos Equis, which, you know, a perfectly fine beer. Everyone enjoys a good Dos Equis, unless you're Shane Gillis and you're a spokesperson for Bud Light. Now, all of a sudden, you see somebody hand Shane a Bud Light, and he's like, what? Oh, yeah. And what's making this even funnier now is TMZ is trying to clean this up, and TMZ reports a source close to Shane says the comedian wasn't committing brand betrayal. You see, the Dos Equis sitting in the cup holder in Shane's chair wasn't his. Right. It belonged to the girl sitting next to him, who wasn't in her seat just as the cameras shot Shane Gillis and Matthew McConaughey, because why would you want to see the pretty blonde girl drinking a Dos Equis? Now, TMZ is really trying to clean this up. They say in a different video, you could see McConaughey's on Shane's left and a blonde is on his right. In that clip, Shane's can is in a koozie and she's empty-handed. But you can see a bit of a Bud Light peeking out from Shane's grip. Meanwhile, in the Wall Street Journal, Shane got a nice tire rotation from the Wall Street Journal. They wrote about the new Tires show, a very favorable article towards Shane Gillis. They reminded us of how he was fired from Saturday Night Live in 2019. Oops, Shane said. I was doing stand-up that night, like while I was getting canceled. I thought it's the one thing I can do. As for Tires, the character of Shane, played by Shane Gillis, is learning the big funny guy bit isn't working so well anymore. He has a vision of his own mortality while eating chicken wings. He pictures an instant family with a freshly divorced woman he once had a thing with in high school. My character's a lot like me in real life, where it's kind of time to grow up. I'm almost 40, so I don't know how much longer I can do this whole frat guy thing. Not that that's what I'm ever going for, but, you know, that's the perception. At least Shane is self-aware of the perception. I was texting with my son the other night. Did you see the thing with, what are they calling this kid out at Penn State? Pablo Escobar? Did you see this thing with the college students and the cocaine? Look it up. Anyway, I texted to my son, what is the frat doing? Why don't you guys just drink Bud Light and pretend to be Shane Gillis? Why are you trying to be cocaine dealers? I digress. So apparently Shane and crew were pitching Tires to Quibi. Remember Quibi, which was short vertical videos, which in retrospect was the right idea. They just tried it 7 or 8 years too early. If they try that idea again in 2027, it'll probably work. The Journal tells us after Shane's SNL firing, Quibi didn't want him involved in Tires, but his friends refused to make the show without him. Shane made some money in 2023 off the Netflix special Beautiful Dogs, and he decided, hey, let's just make it ourselves. Nobody was going to buy our show without a proof of concept, so they made it themselves. Tires premiered on Netflix in 2024 and went to #1. They ordered more, and now we're into season 3. I've been watching several episodes a night. I had to catch up on season 2. Not that I didn't love season 2. I just got distracted. You know, sometimes there's just too much on TV. Like right now, haven't watched Reacher at all. Had to make time for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which was great. How do you hear the leaf blower? How many leaves are there? It's August. Stop. This is why I do the show poolside. I like the distractions and the randomness. Steve Gerben, who co-stars on Tires, had been working as a paralegal. Wow. He said for Shane to have the success he had and then come back for all of us is something I wish I could say that I would do if I were him, but I don't know if I would. The other thing cracking me up, I talked about this on the short YouTube live shows, this whole thing with Nate Bargatze, and, you know, I've been doing the bit, you know me, I love a recurring bit, so I've been leaning into the MAGA comedian Nate Bargatze, which is how the Daily Beast keeps referring to Nate. Well, apparently it's getting sticky. Parade Magazine, you know Parade Magazine? Like your grandmother reads that? Remember that? That's still around. It's pretty mainstream. They are now calling Nate Bargatze controversial. Their headline, and I shared it on the video yesterday, controversial comedian Nate Bargatze. What is controversial about this guy? I mean, okay, he went to a UFC fight once. We're going to cancel him because he went to a sporting event at the White House? Stop. Don't be silly. And I've talked about this. As you know, the President of the United States and I don't agree on all the issues, but if he wants to come on here, he can sit poolside. The Secret Service can clean the pool while I'm interviewing the President. I'll ask him about Saturday Night Live and comedy and what comedians he's into. I'll start talking about Seth Meyers and how we have to make 12:30 great again. By the way, we'll get into that tomorrow with, there's a good Chris Fleming article. But I would have the President on, and if the President invites me to a UFC fight, I'll go. Anyway, Nate Bargatze, controversial comedian. It is just so ridiculous. So here's what Parade wrote. Although Bargatze has become the highest-grossing stand-up comedian, making an astounding $77.5 million in 2025, his career hasn't come without controversy. After photos surfaced of Bargatze attending President Donald Trump's UFC Freedom 250 fight, blah, blah, blah. W. Kamau Bell criticized Bargatze, saying, "Don't be in a photo with fascists. Send your letters to W. Kamau Bell or Nate Bargatze. I don't care what side you're on." Oh, the landscapers are getting closer. Thanks, guys. Here's what I'm really, really excited about. Joe Koy. Joe Koy has announced a new Netflix special. It's called Blue in the Face. It'll be out September 15th, which means we're going to have a lot of Joe Koy press, which means I'm going to be able to do my favorite bit. What's your favorite bit, John? Hey, remember that one time Joe Koy told a horrible, mean joke about Taylor Swift? Here, let's listen.
As you know, we came on after a football doubleheader. The big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, on the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
Oh, I am so happy that that bit is back. Filmed before a sold-out crowd at Stockton Arena, Joe Koy's new hour sees him relive a wild dental disaster, recount getting fired from McDonald's, and celebrating his veteran stepdad. Oh, there's a trailer. I forgot to pull the trailer. By the time you hear this, I will have pulled the trailer. Here it is, I assume.
Dogs live on a different energy. They're on another frequency. You ever bring someone to your house for the first time and your dog's never met that person? And right when they walk in, your dog's like, "Who is this? Who are you? 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 Stop it. Stop it. That. Who are you, dude? Who are you, dude? Who are you, dude? Who are you? Get over there. Get over. What the? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Sit down. This. This.
Oh, I didn't make an edit there. The landscaper stopped. Do you hear how quiet it is? I don't know what you can hear or not with the noise reduction, but oh my God. It's so, as I say that. So it's the guys on the left stopped. The guys behind me just started up again. Please stop. This has been going. It's 1:21 as I'm recording. I've been out in the yard since 10 a.m. It's been 3.5 hours of landscapers because I do have to write the shows before I record the shows. I have to look this stuff up. I digress once again. You're a little loose today, John. Yes, that's why we're poolside. Amy Schumer likes when we talk about her, so we'll talk about her new project, which I just look at this and I just wonder about the decisions some people make. Maybe it's just because I'm a reserved person. But Amy Schumer's new movie is called Best Divorce Ever. Feels a little soon to me, but what do I know? Best Divorce Ever follows Amy Schumer's character Clarissa and Franklin, who after 20 years together decide they're done with marriage, but not with each other, determined to pull off the world's most amicable divorce. This sounds familiar. Amy Schumer, amicable divorce, trying to get along. I feel like I read that in the news several times. I wonder if Clarissa takes bikini shots on a boat and posts them on Instagram. I digress once again. Determined to pull off the world's most amicable divorce, they throw an untying the knot party and eagerly embrace their newly single lives. But when disastrous dates, suspicious children, and spectacularly misguided attempts at conscious uncoupling throw their perfect plan into chaos, Clarissa and Franklin discover that getting divorced is the easy part. Figuring out how to stay a happy family is where things get complicated. There is a lot of news today. Robbie Hoffman is putting out an album of Robbie Hoffman's special Wake Up, produced by John Mulaney. This is the special that aired on Netflix last December. Now it is an album from legendary indie label Secretly Canadian. I was unfamiliar with them until I saw this news story, but I'm sure they are legendary. The album will be available in a digital format as well as a limited run of signed vinyl. Robbie Hoffman said, "I come out very rock star-like. It's almost like this old Andrew Dice Clay way of doing comedy. On tour, I'm in a lot of historic music venues, and we're bringing the house down with comedy instead of music. Our fandoms have really collided." She's excited to sign albums. She said, "You always see those pictures of artists signing stuff. They want me to do that now, so I'm going to do that. I'll take a picture." In the press release, Robbie Hoffman jokes that putting out a physical album is the only way her mother will finally hear the special. When Robbie got started in comedy a decade ago, her mother started sending her comedy records. Now Robbie hits record stores in towns. So far, she's got about 50 records. She says, Mom's been sending me Carlin and Joan Rivers. There's a lot of Carlin. She says she also has some Bill Cosby. Seems like her mother doesn't know the latest news with Bill Cosby, and then Mom is going to be quite surprised when I finally tell my Bill Cosby story after the death of Mr. Cosby at some indeterminate point in the future. Can't tell that one yet, folks. She says her mother doesn't pay attention to pop culture to know anything about what's going on. She just knows the work. It's actually a great way to live. When I got into comedy, she'd be like, oh, you should listen to Lenny Bruce, Jackie Mason. And I used to think those people were hacks. But then I went back and I'm like, those guys are awesome. She's totally right. So much news that this is like the 8th story today. The New York Comedy Festival has added more than 100 shows to the lineup, which is good because I wasn't impressed with the lineup so far. The 10-day celebration of comedy takes place in New York City, November 6th through the 15th. The new additions join previously announced headliners, including Mark Maron, Alana Glazer, Jordan Jensen, Jordan Klepper, Sarah Sherman and Patty Harrison. That's one show. Daniel Sloss, Z-Way, Ben Bankus, Mojo Brooks, and a bunch of others. Caroline Hirsch said, we're thrilled to continue building out this year's New York Comedy Festival lineup with an incredible range of shows, etc., etc. I still don't see, like who's the A-lister there? Marin? I mean, it just feels like a drop-off from the past. All right, real quick, I gotta be better about promoting my other show. I host a show called 5 Good News Stories. Here's how it works. It's me, and I tell you 5 stories, and they're good news, right? So it's like cute stories or smile stories or world records or dogs coming home after 7 years being lost, like that kind of stuff. No politics, no outrage. Just search for 5 Good News Stories wherever you found this show. It comes out 4 times a week. One of the 4 days is Thursday, so you'll find a new episode in your feed right now. And if you like it, there's like 400 you can go back and listen to. Brett Goldstein is touring. It is the Sex, Death, and Small Talk Tour. I thought his last comedy special was actually really strong. I might actually go see him. John, you're going to leave the house? I know, right? It kicks off October 23rd in Madison, Wisconsin. Let's see where he's near me. I could drive down to Philly and see him at the Met Philadelphia on December 3rd, which actually from where I live is easier than going to Venue TBA in Brooklyn, New York on December 5th. The tour wraps up in Boston on November 6th. He's got a website. You can check this out. This one I've wanted to get to all week. I've mentioned in the past, some podcasters are known to have a crush on Diane Morgan. And this headline caught my attention. Man wearing pervert glasses films himself harassing famous female comedian. That famous female comedian is Diane Morgan, which some podcasters have a crush on, but do not harass people nor wear pervert glasses. So some social media user named Mark filmed himself annoying British comedian Diane Morgan. In the video, we see Mark asking a taken aback Diane Morgan, "Excuse me, can I get your phone number?" This was uploaded to social media. I don't want to promote the video, but the title is Rizzing on Kunk. If you're not hip to it, Diane Morgan plays Philomena Kunk on some very funny videos. Mark said, "I saw the cameras on you. Thought you were gorgeous." A crew member said, "Hey, can we get some space?" Mark apparently says, "Don't effing touch me or we're going to have a problem." Okay. Another crew member said, "We're working. We're in the middle of a shoot. This is what we all do for a living." One social media user said, "I don't know how you filmed that video. Watch it back and decide. This is how I want to present myself to a globally connected population." Leave Diane Morgan alone. If you have a crush on her, host a podcast. On Gossip Corner, Pete Davidson has taken his upstate New York home off the market 2 months after he slashed the asking price. Pete initially purchased the 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house for $1.95 million in 2023. In February, he decided to sell it, listed the home for $2.5 million. A few weeks later, he dropped the price to $2.27, and then in April, dropped it to $2.15 million. It is now back off the market. Perhaps Pete likes living there. And I'm not the only person who likes to be poolside. Apparently, Kevin Hart was poolside. This came out of an African newspaper. They were very excited. Kevin went viral after a clip surfaced of Kevin Hart moving to the, I'm going to butcher all the words here, Ampiano track Uzizwa Kanjan. The video was shared on social media by the Hype channel. They captioned it, "Kevin Hart vibing to Uzizwa Kanjan's song." In the clip, we see Kevin Hart dressed in an open white linen shirt, shorts, sunglasses, and sneakers in front of what appears to be a breezy beachfront backdrop. Me, I'm dressed like Adam Sandler. And that is your comedy news for today from Poolside. All right, I'll be back in the afternoon with the quick video version of this, and then back in the morning with the full audio version of Daily Comedy News. See you then.